What's going on, everybody? Josh Morris here with the Everything Paranormal Show, and thank you for joining me tonight. Let's see. I know I got started 4 minutes late, so you know me, folks. But no, I just try to make sure. Sometimes I'm just trying to get some things ready for you guys, and make sure everything's good to go. So, how you guys doing out there tonight? I hope you guys are enjoying life as much as me, even though I have lots of stresses, but that's okay. I love life, and I love my wife and my son, and we're doing good. We've got some good things coming up this weekend. I'm excited. We're going to be starting to film the first episode of, potentially a masterpiece, if you will. No, I don't know. I'm just kidding. It probably won't be a masterpiece, but no, we're going to be filming the first entry into a series, hopefully, knock on wood. If it goes well, we're excited to bring that to you. And some events have transpired recently to change that series. We were going to go into it a certain way, and then something mysterious happened in our lives here. And so now the series is taking a different mysterious turn. So you guys will have to keep an eye on that. Nobody in the comments. Nobody saying hi tonight. What, you guys don't want to say hi tonight? I'm going to say hi. All right. Let's see. A couple things. Oh, guys, check out my new headset. So my new headset, my new headphones. Let me see if I can plug them in. I don't think I'll lose sound. Let me see here. At least I hope I don't lose sound. Okay, so you see, check out my new headset. So this is my new headphones. Guys, check them out. They got the light up ears, right? They change color. So yeah, guys, these are my new Razer headphones. These things are awesome. They match my wife. She has a matching pair. And but guys, I mean, I'm telling you, as far as headphones go, they cover your ear fully. The sound in these are amazing. These are great if you want to edit things. Razer makes an amazing headphones. So hopefully, if you guys like them, hey, definitely get your. I'm serious. And they, like I said, they do the RGB. So you want to change color, and I believe there's a thing where sometimes you can have I think it may be Twitch or something. You can actually have people can change the color of your headsets and stuff. I don't know if it costs money, if people have to pay money for that, but I don't know. Anyways, I just thought to show you guys. Okay, now can you guys hear me? Sorry about that. So Peter Taylor, Josh TH, Beyond the Veil, which is Terry Lynn, and Bob Fountain. Good to see you guys. I hope you guys are having a great evening, like I said. And hope you guys like my Razer Kitty headphones. I love those things. Great quality. I don't know. I guess when I plugged them in, did it go? I wonder if it went to the microphone on them. I wasn't sure, so I don't know. So, guys, I apologize. But anyways, yeah, I guess I lost sound. So when I see, that's what happens when I plug them in. I shouldn't have plugged them in. See, because you don't. I was just trying to show you where they light up, but see, now they're not lit up. So I should have just put them on like this and be like, "Hey, check out my new headphones." I just thought I'd plug them in because I thought they would flash different colors, or I don't know. I didn't have anything set up on it. So so yeah, what colors do they have, Peter? Pretty much anything. What colors besides pink? Maybe are you talking about? Or the colors that they light up? The light up colors for the ears and things like that. They light up pretty much any color. It's like RGB. So if you have the light up keyboard, you know, my wife, like she's got her gaming room and like it's all match, like her keyboard, and she's got lights behind her monitors, and it's really fancy. And my son's got some matching RGB stuff. I just got those. None of my other stuff is RGB, but I think you can get like some black Razer Kitty headphones. But the truth is that my wife ended up with an extra pair. So instead of returning them or selling them, I just was like, I'll take them. I mean, because those Razer headphones are phenomenal. Like they have amazing sound. They're really quality headphones. So I don't care if they're pink or have light up ears. So it's all good. So I'm comfortable with who I am. All right. I hope I'm having fun tonight. You guys are awesome. So yeah, tonight we're going to get into a few things. We're going to get into some of the history of evil spirits. I think that would be really cool. I want to talk about some of the origins. Now, again, is this like tonight when I talk about the origins of the spirit realms or evil spirits, is that going to be fact? No, it's going to be open for interpretation. But anytime we try to learn things, we want to go and find as much scriptures as we can, things like that, and try to look at some different options. And this is just one of those options. Again, you can have any take you want. You can look at anything you want. But I'm going to be doing some reading today. We'll talk about some things. We'll get into some of the possible history. It'll be pretty cool. Also, as far as just tech goes, I just wanted to talk to you guys. Like I'm getting ready to do this filming for this streaming platform. And, I just wanted to talk to some of you guys out there that maybe are doing paranormal or want to do paranormal, and you're worried about getting in with like tons of tech and filming equipment and stuff. And yeah, it's true. We've got a lot of money tied up in that type of stuff. But there's a lot of things that you can get that are effective. But one of the things too is if you're going to invest in something, and let me just show you an example. So when it comes to cameras, right, you can film your stuff with all kinds of cameras. Now, all right, here we go. So I just want to talk a little bit about cameras tonight before we get started into the juicy stuff. So right here, this is a Canon 77D. It's older. It's not like top of the line. It's not going to be your Sony A3s and things like that. And this is not going to really give you 4K. But in all honesty, if you're starting out and you're trying to find something that you can try to get into, you could probably get a 77D Canon, or there's some other models right around that, but I would look at the 77D. But what's great about this, and here's all you really need for nighttime shots, is the 18 to 55 lens. So what that means is when you have your 18 millimeter, that's kind of a wider shot. And if you notice, when you zoom out with your lens, okay, this is 55 because it's 18 to 55. Now, this, when you're zoomed out, that means that you're going to capture really what you would see human sight. So when you see somebody standing there and you see how they look, that's pretty much how it's going to look when you take the picture. When you zoom all the way back into 18, you're almost going to make that object smaller than how you see them. So if you're holding the camera and you look, you're going to see, and they'll look closer to you. When you look through your viewfinder, they're going to look a little further away. You're going to get a little bit of a wider shot with that 18. So when you zoom in, now when you kind of hold through this viewfinder and you look, they're going to look about the same. So it makes it a little more personal, things like that. But again, this is something you would use, or what I use when I'm going through and filming and doing like my field stuff. You can also mount your, and I don't have one nearby, but you can mount like your Rode mics. You can mount your lighting cubes, things like that, all right here. There's little accessory things for your microphones. And it's, of course, you got your flip out screens. That way you can, keep an eye and do all your adjustments and things like that. So, and of course, always make sure you have that lens cover on, right? So it's just something I want to show you guys. And then the strap, no, it's not because you're a tourist. Okay. The strap plays an important role because it actually helps for camera stabilization. When you use it around your neck, you actually will tuck in your elbows and you put that tension on that camera. Now you can kind of move around a little bit without, and it just gives that little bit of tension to help stabilize that image. So I just wanted to kind of show, I don't know, I just thought maybe some of you might find some of that interesting and maybe help you out if you're getting into these things. I just thought it'd be pretty cool. We could probably do a whole show on camera tips and lighting tips and things like that. I've had to really study and learn, and really some of the best things are just to go out and try different settings on your DSLR camera. Now, this one is a mirrored. It's not mirrorless. Again, this was right at the conversion point where now we're getting a lot of people that's just getting mirrorless cameras. So would I say that you should go get a 77D? No, but I'm just saying if you're trying to get into something and maybe you find one that's for the right price and you're like, hey, then definitely do that. Oh, Peter, that's a great question. So, so what is better, camera or camcorders? Because I really do. I like that question. I think that's a very valid question, especially now when you watch like paranormal investigators. You'll see people like the Foreman brothers. You'll watch their shows, and you'll see, and they're notoriously filming each other all the time. So you'll see a lot of times they're using camcorders. There's going to be advantages and disadvantages to both, honestly. There are some great camcorders out there. You can get some amazing film time from them because remember, DSLRs, again, sometimes there's a trade-off of heat and there's limitations. So a lot of times, like for example, I can record at half-hour blocks, like file sizes. So I'm usually, like if I'm on shooting like 24 frames or 30 frames or 60 frames, it'll give you only X amount of time. A lot of times, like 30 minutes is like the most in one. Of course, you're going to edit stuff. So most likely you can always stop and you're going to film in small segments anyways. But if you wanted to film straight through, or if you wanted static cameras, I would say static cameras, you're going to want to go with camcorders so you can mount them on tripods. And a lot of times you can even plug them in the wall and they'll sit there and record until you tell them to stop or you run out of digital space or whatever. That's the great thing about camcorders. Again, DSLRs, not so much. If you continuously was to keep recording with them, there's a good chance they could overheat. But also what's great about DSLRs, though, is that depending on certain models, it just really all depends. I mean, there's entire videos out there comparing them. With this Canon, for example, one great thing that Canon does is it has a dual pixel autofocus. And that's really good when you're doing your videos. You can, it just really works very well. And the autofocus motor is very quiet as well. Sometimes when you watch some videos, you'll hear like, you'll actually hear their zoom or their focus motor, the little servo and stuff. So you'll actually hear that sometimes on certain models, and those are no good. So that's one of the nice things about this Canon 77D is even though it's older, it still takes amazing high def footages, and I can take pictures. So that's the great thing too, is that's kind of a nice thing in a way with DSLRs, is that you can swap out the lenses. So you might have that 18 to 55 millimeter lens, but you can take that off and you can buy other lenses. And believe me, lenses are an entire category as well. And there is a lot of things to learn about lenses and why it's important for light and your f-stop and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys want to do a show strictly on camera tech and filming and stuff for like paranormal investigating, we can definitely talk about that. One thing I noticed is that when you go out there on YouTube, things like that, and you try to look like how to do low light filming, there's some great advice, but nobody specifically covers filming for like paranormal, like what's the best settings. And so I don't know if it's just certain, like some of the shows just kind of keep that to themselves. And they're like, well, I figured it out and my low light footage looks great. Because the trick is grain, noise, what they call noise. And that's just trying to find the right balance for your ISO. That's really a big secret as well, where your film's not going to be too dark, but it's not going to be too bright where you get noise. And you're trying to find that right level to where everything looks pretty good. So yeah, I just wanted to cover a little bit of that. Like I'm now that I'm starting to film for this streaming platform, like I'm having to step up my game, and I can't no longer film on just like some of the assisted settings, because on a DSLR you've got little settings, like whenever you guys seen that dial, right? So if you look at the dial, I don't know if it's going to focus on it. So, but if you look at the dial, where is it? So right there, I don't know if you can see it on camera. It's kind of darkened out because of the green, and the green's missing, but it's a green selection. So you see where that little white notch is right there at my fingertip. See that white notch? Well, right now you can see I'm set to M, which is manual. That's where like your professionals will set it on, because you control all the settings. Well, I'm not a professional yet, although I'm learning. But see, there's some other settings on here, like A and things like that. Those are like aperture. Those are assisted settings. But back to the green button. The green selection is basically your noob. So if you're like a noob, you're going to put it on the green, and that's like your fully automatic. That's where you're saying, I'm just going to push the button and take a picture where I want to take a picture. I'm going to let the camera decide everything else. The problem with that is that there's just too much input all the time for the cameras to truly make the right decision, especially when you're trying to be artistic. So it'll do its best, and some of the really good cameras have really good automatic modes, but it's never going to quite give you probably that full-on professional look. Then with the assisted modes, that's not bad. Like if you're going to go on an assisted mode, do the aperture mode, because then that way you can still control your shutter speed and your f-stop, but you don't have to worry so much about your light sensitivity, things like that. It'll control the aperture for you. So that's kind of what I was using to film. Like when you watch some of my videos right now on my YouTube channel, you'll see that there's a little bit of grain. There's more grain in the darks, things like that, more noise. Whereas with the aperture setting, or if you go to manual and you manually learn how to adjust everything, that's when you really start to get a more focused nighttime picture where, and we're talking, when I say nighttime, I'm talking about the classic paranormal investigator nighttime, not infrared. That's different. But the flashlight up here, where you got the flashlight and you got the camera and you're walking around, maybe not right in front of each other, but you're walking around, you got the camera and you got the flash, or maybe a headlamp. But you know what I'm talking about, where you see somebody has a flashlight and they got the camera and it looks pretty well in focus. The blacks around the edges look black. They don't look too noisy or fuzzy, right? That's usually a good balance of ISO and shutter speed and all those things. So anyways, I just got on this whole camera tangent talking to you guys about camera stuff. I'm going to have to go back and change the title of this this episode. Everyone's going to be showing up to learn about evil spirits, watching the replays. They're going to be like, dude, like you're talking about cameras for like 15, 20 minutes. So I don't know. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to talk about them a little bit of tech type stuff, because I know some of you guys like that. Bob says, Josh, why don't you start to offer classes on YouTube for a modest fee for classes on recording activities? Well, I mean, Bob, there's so many of them out there for free on YouTube. I would never, and I'm not even professional. I'm still trying to figure stuff out myself. I'm just trying to tell you guys what I've learned so far, what some of the things that I've learned about the DSLR stuff. And I've got some camcorders, and we've got some night vision stuff. We've got the one night vision camera we have. My wife found that, and like Terry Lynn, you remember that one? That's like, we have one that's got a color mode. You can almost do kind of like a color night vision. The only problem with the color night vision is that it's like if you're the problem with it is it doesn't work good for audiences. Like, it works good for, like, if you wanted to go out and fish or something at night. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like certain things. But when you're doing a paranormal show, what sucks is, like, with color mode, it just looks like a bad video. It looks like, wow, that camera sucks. But it's not. It's nighttime, and it puts in color. So it's really cool. So a lot of times I put it on grayscale. That way it looks like a normal night vision camera, because it is a night vision camera. But that way it looks good. So when people watch the videos, they go, oh, okay. And I have examples of it. I think if you go back and watch my Nickerson Sneed video, I think part 2 or even part 1, I think both, you can see where we did some color nighttime stuff, and we also did some grayscale stuff, so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's see what else. Terry Lynn said, oops. What'd you oops about? So, all right, guys, let's get into some of this, unless you guys really want to keep talking about tech. If you have any other tech questions. But, guys, you can interact in any of the show. Like I said, if you guys have any questions or any input, by all means, feel free to come in here and ask along the way. And I try to keep an eye out on everything. Bob says, but it would be funny watching you trying to teach us. Hey, I try to be entertaining about it. Well, maybe not so much entertaining, but I just try to at least teach you guys what I know. Like I said, I'm not a professional by any means. I wish, man, there's so many cool techniques and tricks and tips out there. Like, I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to try to go explore and do this first photo shoot in my, I'm not saying first photo shoot. Like I said, we filmed other locations before, but this is like my first time filming something on this type of scale, I guess you'd say, or something of this magnitude. When it comes to level of quality, I'm going to be pushing the level of quality versus just going in and filming and just being like, I'm going to have my DSLR set to aperture mode, and, it's going to look okay, and I'm going to make it exciting, and like I'll edit it. No, this is going to be trying to do a better job and make it look like it belongs on a streaming platform. So I'm excited for that. Psionics. That's it, honey. Psionics. Thank you. So the Psionics night vision, it's an amazing, it's a monocular, and I don't think I have it down here. Do I, honey? I don't remember. You might have it up there now. I don't know. Sometimes we have some equipment stored in one place and some in another. But anyways, but the Psionics is really good. Hopefully we'll be able to use that for the investigation coming up, the filming and stuff. It's a great camera. If you guys... It's a little if it's a little costly, is that what you're telling me to do it? I don't know. It's a little costly, the Psionics, but it's worth it. I think so. I think it's a great night vision camera. It's great. It takes I think it shoots like 720 in night vision. Yeah, it's in your equipment, of course. Anyways, but guys, we can talk camera stuff in another one episode, maybe in a few weeks or something. We'll do some, we'll just do some talk about cameras and filming and lighting and things like that. Maybe we can talk about that stuff. I don't know if you guys are interested, let me know. Okay, so let's start diving into some of the history of evil spirits. So a lot of times people wonder where evil spirits come from. Why is there evil spirits roaming the earth? Where do they reside? Are they beings from hell? What are these things? So a lot of people have these questions about evil spirits. So, we have to turn to history. We have to turn to scriptures. And one of the books that was recovered in the Dead Sea Scrolls is the book of Enoch. Enoch is the great-grandfather of Noah from the Bible. So if you're reading the Bible, in Genesis, if you remember the section where everybody begat somebody and they lived 900 years old, or, back then, Enoch was mentioned. Like I said, he's like ninth down, I think, in the Seth bloodline. But anyways, he's Noah's great-grandfather. And so he's Noah's great-grandfather, and he was actually very, very much a holy man. Like God really took a liking to Enoch because of how holy he was. And in fact, God even really appointed him like a scribe, the holy scribe. And in fact, he's only one of two men to never die, to actually be ascended straight into heaven without actually dying. I know it's crazy, but that's how much God loved him. And in fact, ancient Christians used to hold on to his book all the time. They held it near and dear to their hearts. And it was scripture that was, before Jesus, but it was out there along with the Old Testament. Again, a lot of people believed it to be part of the Bible. Even the Orthodox Ethiopians actually still incorporate Enoch into their Bible. Man, I got like throat stuff tonight. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So, anyways, the book of Enoch's great. It was referenced in the Bible like at least 3 times for sure. Quoted in the book of Job, things like that. So it's great. It's out there. I don't want to get into justifying whether or not people think it's like the part of the Bible or should have been part of the Bible. I don't want to get into that. Let's just say it's an ancient transcript. It's history. It's recorded history. It's things that happened, events that occurred, and it was so important that it was kept in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, the creators, all the people that made the scrolls for the Dead Sea Scrolls, they were transcribing books back then to preserve them, things that were near and dear to their heart, things that they were like, hey, this is so important, we need to try to preserve this, and they put them in those vases, and then they were discovered in the 1940s or whatever. God, excuse me, guys. All right. So I'm going to read you part of the book of Enoch, and we're going to talk about it. But this is where you guys are going to get to hear, some of the history. This is amazing. You guys really need to listen and think about this stuff. So this is where we're going to start off in chapter 6 of Enoch. And I'll go ahead right now. And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Semyaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye not. Indeed, agree to this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they call it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders. Simyaza, their leader, Rakabah, Ramiel, Kokabiel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barquel, Aziel, Armoros, Bartarel, Ananel, Zakwel, Zamspiel, Satarel, Turel, Jamdiel, and Sariel. These are their chief of tens. And the others together who took them on, and all of the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose one for himself. And they all began to go in unto them and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots. And they made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid acquisition against the lawless ones. So far, guys, if you can't tell, these 200 angels, they made a pact. They descended from earth. They were called the Watchers. Okay? They were the angels that were watching over, just watching man and things like that. They descended. They made a pact to break away from heaven and descend, because to them, God made humans in his image, and the human female form was amazing to them, because angels were all male, in that form. So they, lusted after women. I mean, they were just like, oh my God, they're so beautiful. So they descended down and look at what it said. They were teaching them charms and enchantments. I mean, does that not sound pretty much like witchcraft, right? And the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. So, I mean, they're teaching them basically forbidden knowledge from, their knowledge of the universe, right? And then, of course, so it says that the problem, or the offspring of a fallen angel and a human woman was these giants, like literal giants, like it says, tall, like, not just giants like renowned men. We're talking actual giants, right? And then the giants were so big. I mean, think about in just terms of a calorie intake, right? Caloric intake. These giants have got to feed, right? So, of course, they're devouring resources. And that's when they started turning against each other. But they also said that they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles. Remember, they had different forms back then. So don't try to think about it too hard. But this is where you start getting those hybrids, right? When you used to hear about these part lizard men, or, centaurs, minotaurs, right? Like some of the Greek legends. These are hybrid characters. Medusa was a woman and a snake. So it makes sense. When you see this is where these hybrids are coming from. So anyways, let's continue on. I just wanted to take a moment. Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And those arose much godliness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Semyaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Armoros, the resolving of enchantments. So they were also teaching you how to resolve enchantments, see? And Barachiel, taught astrology, Kokobal, the constellations, Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds, and Arakel, the signs of the earth, Shemsiel, the signs of the sun, and Sariel, the course of the moon. Now, if I'm mispronouncing these names, hey, too bad. I'm not going to split hairs. And as men perish, they cried. Because remember, those giants are running around, wreaking havoc. And if you look, these angels, it's specifically naming the angel that taught these things. And if you really think about it, I want you to think back to our culture. When you look at Lord of the Rings and you look at some of these Middle Earth things, when there was trolls and giants, I mean, guys, this is real sounding stuff here. I mean, this book, this scripture is from easily a few hundred years BC. Easy. They already estimated that, historians. But it could be even earlier. Okay, in the time of Adam, they were saying at least around 6,000 BC, right? Roughly, I guess. All right, so, but that's what I'm saying. So think about it. Swords, knives, shields, and breastplate, armor and stuff. I mean, this is like Middle Earth going on. You got giants running around, hybrids running around, men defending themselves with these shields and swords, right? And they're out there shorting themselves. They're out there shorting themselves. All right. That's enough of that. All right. So anyways, as the men perished, they cried and their cries went up to heaven. So there was so much basically just death and mayhem that the screams and tortures, the sadness was making its way to heaven. Chapter 9. And then Michael, you guys know the angel Michael, right? Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel. Okay, you know those names, right? Or at least some of them. Looked down from the heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said to one another, the earth made without inhabitant cries, the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, God of ages, the throne of thy glory standeth unto all generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all the ages. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou, and all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thee seest what Azazel hath done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Semyaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole family has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. Now the whole earth has been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven. And their lamentations have ascended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which were wrought on the earth. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass. And thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer them. And thou dost not say to us what we to do to them in regard to these. So basically, the angels there, they're pleading to God. They're like, look, we know you know, right? That's what the angels like. That's what they're saying. Like Michael and they're like, look, God, you are the man. You see everything, or not the man, but you are the supreme of everything, right? You see everything. We know that you know this. So what do you want to do about it? Chapter 10. Then said the Most High, the holy and great one spake, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, Go to Noah, and tell him my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed. And a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world. And again, the Lord said to Raphael, Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is Dudael, and cast him therein, and place him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face, that he may not see the light. And on the day of great judgment he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, and that all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribed all sin. And to Gabriel said the Lord, Proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, so that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days they shall not have. And no request that their fathers make of thee shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf. For they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said unto Michael, Go bind Semyaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, so as to defile themselves with them in all their uncleanliness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment and their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And whoever shall be condemned and destroyed will for henceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations, and destroy all spirits of the reprobate of the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear. And it shall prove a blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in the joy forevermore. And then shall all the righteous escape, and shall live till they begat thousands of children, and all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace. And then shall the whole earth be tilled in righteousness, and shall be all planted with trees, and be full of blessing. And all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it, and the vine which the plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all seed which is sown thereon, each measure or shall bear 1,000, or each measure of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil. And cleanse thou the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godliness, and all uncleanness that is wrought upon the earth, destroy from off the earth. And all the children of men shall become righteous, and all nations shall offer adoration, and shall praise me, and all shall worship me. And the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement, and from all sin, and from all punishment, and from all torment, and I will never again send them upon it from generation to generation and forever. So this was God's initial response. He laid down the law. He was laying down the law. Bob says if women were bearing giants, I bet cesarean sections were popular in those days. Well, I'm pretty sure that they were probably regular size, and quickly like grew every day from there. I would think so, Bob. But yeah, that'd be crazy. And hi, I see you see me. So you can see just in this section God's response to, and if you remember, I know it was kind of a long section on this one, but when you go back, one of the first things he sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, who is Noah, right? Noah from the Bible. So this was the first time he was sending the angel to go warn, until basically let Noah know, hey, this is what's coming. You need to be prepared, and your seeds shall live, right? His family, his future shall live. So right there, we already see the, part of the Bible that talks about Noah, that this was already included in that as well. But you see that the punishment is these angels being bound and to sort of be forced to watch their sons. He refers to them, the God refers to this is their children, right? The fallen, all these offspring, all of these, what do you call it? What has he been saying? But like all of the oh man, I can't believe I'm blacking out or blinking out on those. The defilement, like, right, all the defilement, all these creatures, these hybrids and stuff, they're gonna turn on each other and battle each other. So if you want to cross-reference that, you can look at the Greek culture of the Clash of the Titans, right? There was the Clash of the Titans. So this is another hint that may have been true. This script right here, it offers an explanation as to why that took place. So that's why I find this really fascinating. And he talks about peace. Obviously, like after they do all this, they're going to cast the angels or the fallen angels will all end up, after all this is done, they're going to get cast into hell. In fact, that's really all it's cast in hell if you really go to the scriptures. Okay, so chapter 11, and in those days I will open the store chambers of blessings or blessing which are in the heaven, so as to send them down upon the earth over the work of labor of these children of men, and truth and peace shall be associated together throughout all the days of the world and throughout all generations of men. So this is where we start getting into, we're going to start seeing a little bit of behind the scenes of Earth. We're going to start seeing a little bit of the, evil spirits, but the spiritual realms and things like that. We're going to get to see some behind the scenes. So it'll start making sense once we start getting into this part right here. But so chapter 12, before these things, Enoch was hidden, and no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden and where he abode and what had become of him. And his activities had to do with the watchers, and in his days were with the holy ones. And I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord of majesty and the King of ages, and lo, the watchers called me, Enoch, the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, the scribe of righteousness, go to the watchers, go to the watchers of heaven, who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of earth do, and have taken unto themselves wives. Ye have wrought great destruction on the earth, and ye shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin, and inasmuch they delight themselves in their children, the murder of their beloved ones they shall see, and over the destruction of their children they shall lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity, but mercy and peace shall ye not attain. So basically, this is basically God telling Enoch, hey, go deliver this message to the watchers, please. And Enoch went and said, Azazel, and Enoch went and said, Azazel. Remember, Azazel is one of the leaders. Semyaz is like the leader, then Azazel. Those are like the top two. Azazel, thou shalt have no peace. A severe sentence has gone forth against thee to put thee in bonds, and thou shalt not have toleration, nor request granted to thee, because of the unrighteousness which thou hast taught, and because of all of the works of godliness and unrighteousness and sin which thou hast shown to men. Then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness, and to read the petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven. For from henceforward they could not speak with him, nor lift their eyes up to heaven for shame of their sins for which they had been condemned. Then I wrote out their petition and the prayer in regard to their spirits and their deeds individually, and in regard to their requests, that they should have forgiveness and length of days 7. And I have went off and sat down at the waters of Dan, in the land of Dan, to the south of the west of Hermon. I read the petition till I fell asleep, and behold, a dream came to me, and visions fell down upon me, and I saw visions of chastisement. And a voice came bidding me, I to tell it to the sons of heaven and reprimand them. And when I waked, I came unto them, and they were all sitting gathered together, weeping. And Abijail, which is between Lebanon and Senezir, with their faces covered. And I recounted before them all of the visions which I had seen in my sleep. And I began to speak of words of righteousness and to reprimand the heavenly watchers. The book of the words of righteousness and the reprimand of eternal watchers, in accordance with the command of the Holy Great One in that vision. I saw in my sleep what I will now say with a tongue of flesh and with the breath of my mouth, which is the Great One, has given men to converse therewith and understand with heart, as he has created and given to man the power of understanding the word of wisdom. So hath he created me also and given me the power of reprimanding the watchers, the children of heaven. So basically, again, he went to the watchers, and of course, they're just like so ashamed. They're like, they couldn't even lift their eyes up toward heaven. They're just like, and basically they're wanting to appeal to God. They're wanting him, Enoch, to go and petition God, basically, like, hey, we have a petition. We are asking forgiveness. Please go, argue our case for us. And of course, he went, he did that for him. But of course, in his dream, his vision, he had a vision of basically God saying, nah. And so he went back to them, and he's now letting them know, like, hey, I have the power to reprimand you. God basically is allowing me to hand out the sentence to you. So he says, I wrote out your petition, and in my vision it appeared thus, and your petition will not be granted unto you throughout all days of eternity, and that judgment has been finally passed upon you. Yea, your petition will not be granted unto you. And from henceforth you shall not ascend into heaven unto all eternity, and in bonds of earth the decree has gone forth to bind you for all the days of the world, and that previously you shall have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and ye shall have no pleasure in them, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And your petition on their behalf shall not be granted, nor yet on your own, even though you weep and pray and speak all the words contained in the writing which I have written. And the vision was shown to me thus. Behold, in the vision clouds invited me, and a mist summoned me, and the course of the stars and the lightning sped and hastened me, and the winds in the vision caused me to fly and lifted me upward and bore me into heaven. And I went in till I drew nigh a wall which is built of crystals and surrounded by tongues of fire. And it began to affright me. And I went into the tongues of fire and drew nigh to a large house which was built of crystals. And the walls of the house were like a tessellated floor made of crystals. And its groundwork was of crystal. Its ceiling was like the path of the stars and the lightnings. and between them were fiery cherubim, and their heaven was clear as water. A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its portals blazed with fire. And I entered into that house, and it was hot as fire and cold as ice. There were no delights of life therein. Fear covered me, and trembling got hold upon me. As I quaked and trembled, I fell upon my face. And I beheld a vision, and lo, there was a second house, greater than this one. And the entire portal stood open before me, and it was built of flames of fire. And in every respect, it was so called in splendor and magnificence, an extent that I cannot describe to its splendor and its extent. And its floor was of fire, and above it was lightnings and path of stars, and its ceiling was also flaming fire. And I looked at and saw there a lofty throne. Its appearance was as crystal, and the wheels thereof as the shining sun. And there was the vision of cherubim. And from underneath the throne came streams of flaming fire, so that I could not look thereon. And the great glory sat thereon, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun, and was whiter than any snow. None of the angels could enter and could behold his face by reason of his magnificence and glory, and no flesh could behold him. The flaming fire was round about him, and a great fire stood before him, and none around could draw nigh him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, yet he needed no counselor. And the most holy ones who were nigh to him did not leave by night nor depart him. And until then I had been prostrate on my face, trembling. And the Lord called me with his own mouth and said to me, "Come hither, Enoch, and hear my word." And one of the holy ones came to me and wakened me. And he made me rise up and approach the door. I bowed my face downwards. And he answered me and said to me, and I heard his voice, "Fear not, Enoch, thou righteous man and scribe of righteousness. Approach hither and hear my voice. And go say to the watchers of heaven, who have sent thee to intercede for them, you should intercede for them, for men, and not men for you. Wherefore have ye left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women, and defiled yourself with the daughters of men, and taken yourselves wives, and done like the children of earth, and begotten giants as your sons? And though you are holy, spiritual, living the eternal life, you have defiled yourself with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh. And as the children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as those who die and perish. Therefore I have given them wives also, that they might impregnate them, and begat children by them, that this nothing might be wanting them on earth. But you were formerly spiritual, living the eternal life, and immortal for all generations of the world. And therefore I have not appointed wives for you. For as for the spiritual ones of the heaven, in heaven is their dwelling. And now the giants who are produced from the spirits and flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth. And on the earth shall be their dwelling. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies, because they are born from men, and the holy watchers is their beginning and primal origin. And shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits they shall be called. And for the spirits of heaven, in heaven shall be their dwelling. But for the spirits of the earth, which were born upon the earth shall be their dwelling. And the spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble, but they take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst, and cause offenses. These spirits shall rise up against the children of men and against women, because they have proceeded from them. So if you stop for a second here, guys, and think about this, first of all, Enoch was taken up to God's throne. I mean, he talked about a house not as awesome as God's beforehand with crystal tessellated floors, portals, fire, lightning, stars. I mean, amazing. I mean, could you just, oh, I could only imagine. And it was scary. Like he was scared. I mean, he was so scared, like, what the heck? And he just dropped down and, and then God's throne when he describes that and through that portal. So, when we talk about portals, and I mean, this is direct quotes of portals all the way back again to the BC era. So, and God is talking, and he's basically upset, obviously, at what God created mankind, and it's kind of like when you make something, and then these angels went down and defiled it, and they tampered with it. It's like when you mix in other colors of clay, with your little clay sculptures, and then it gets all weird, and then it turns into this other weird, it starts blending, and you just can't fix it. You can't undo it anymore. You have to get rid of it, start over with new clay, and you can't contaminate it. So that's what God's doing, really. It's like he's getting ready to cleanse the earth. We know the flood, things like that. We've all heard stories about the flood. So, but what's really interesting is now he is actually deemed that when these giants, when these hybrid, like basically these defilements, when they're dead, their spirits, which were born from these fallen angels and from men, shall stay on earth forever. And he says they shall be called evil spirits. So this term goes back thousands of years. And and God even says that evil spirits' jobs basically will be to afflict. It's to oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth. And cause trouble. They take no food because they're dead, right? They're spirits. They don't take food. God is specifically explaining this. This is like the sentence. But yet they still thirst. See, there's a never-ending thirst that these evil spirits have for affliction, to oppress and destroy and to attack. There's a never-ending thirst. Yet they don't hunger. You see what I'm saying? But there's that thirst for evil, and they cause offenses. So, and it says that these spirits shall rise up against the children of men and against women because they have proceeded from them. So now we have a little bit of explanation of history of where evil spirits come from. I'm not going to get into the rest of Enoch in the sense of there's a whole bunch more to Enoch. I mean, for sure. But what I'm saying is, let's see. So yeah, basically he's like, hey, he's going to tell Enoch to go down and cast judgment upon him. But before they do, he gets a tour. And this is where you guys should really, if you haven't read the book of Enoch, you should. It's, again, it's ancient scripture. But it's really awesome because God basically lets the angels like Uriel and Michael and things like that give Enoch a tour of like behind the scenes. And actually Enoch does actually see, he describes all these different things of the earth. And this is where kind of some of the flat earthers pull some of their theories, because the descriptions that Enoch talks about really almost describes kind of a flat earth. But anyways, we're not going to get into all that. I just wanted to point that out. But let me see if I can find real quick, because again, he goes into a lot of descriptions about some of the sights he saw. And so, wait, let me go. Can I go back? Okay, so So then there's a part he says, I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, this place is the end of the heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire, and they have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of the rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so maybe that's not what I'm talking about, but it's really cool. And Uriel said to me, here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here they shall stand till the end of day, the great judgment in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens. And I, Enoch, alone saw the vision, the end of all things, and no man shall see as I have seen. And let's see. He talks about some Gabriel, one of the holy angels, who is over paradise, and the serpents and on the cherubim. So he talks about some of the different angels, and this is really cool too. So if some of you like talking to like looking into angels and things like that, he really gets into some of the different roles of specific, like Raphael, one of the angels. He's over the spirits of men. Raguel, who is one of the holy angels, takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries. Michael is one of the holy angels, to wit, and he is set over the best part of mankind and over chaos. So it's really cool how he breaks down each of the angels and what they're over. So I think that's pretty cool. But as we start to get to the end of the show, I wanted to, again, I did promise we talked about spirit realms. So that's why I'm trying to skip through here, because I know I don't want to go through another 20 minutes of him describing some of these things. I really think you guys should really read some of this. I just wanted to see where it talked about. So here we go. So this is regarding spirit realms or the underworld. Okay. So as he's on this tour, but he goes, and thence I went to another place, and he showed me in the west another great and high mountain, and of hard rock. And there was in 4 hollow places, deep and wide and very smooth. How smooth are the hollow places, and deep and dark to look at. And there were 4 hollow places in it. Oh, okay. Sorry. And I said, wow, like how smooth are these hollow places, and deep and dark to view. Then Raphael answered, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said unto me, these hollow places have been created for this very purpose, that the spirits of the souls of the dead should assemble therein. Yea, that all the souls of the children of men should assemble here. And these places have been made to receive them till the day of their judgment, until their appointed period, till the great judgment comes upon them. So I saw the spirit of the men who were dead, and their voice went forth to heaven. And I asked Raphael, the angel who was with me, and I said unto him, the spirit whose voice goes forth and maketh suit. And he answered me, saying, this is the spirit which went from Abel, whom his brother Cain slew. And he makes his suit against him till his seed is destroyed from the face of the earth, and his seed is annihilated from amongst the seed of men. And then I asked regarding it, and regarding all the hollow places, why is one separated from the other? And he answered me and said unto me, these 3 have been made that the spirits of the dead might be separated. And such a division has been made for the spirits of the righteous, in which there are as the bright spring of water, and such has been made for sinners when they die and are buried in the earth, and judgment has not been executed on them in their lifetime. Here their spirits shall be set apart in this great pain till the great day of judgment and punishment and torment of those who curse forever, and retribution of their spirits. There he shall bind them forever. And in such a division has been made for spirits of those who make their suit, who make disclosures discerning their destruction, and they were slain in the days of the sinners. Such has been made for the spirits of men who were not righteous but sinners, who were complete in transgression, and of the transgressors. They shall be companions, but their spirits shall not be slain in the day of judgment, nor shall they be raised from hence. Then I blessed the Lord of glory, and said, Blessed be my Lord, the Lord of righteousness, who ruleth forever. So there's passages that talk about sort of 4 distinct areas for different types of souls, basically, or spirits awaiting judgment. So I found that very interesting. One seemed to be described almost like a temporary heaven, like spring of water, like a bright spring of water and stuff. And whereas another one seemed to be pain and torment, and really didn't describe too much of the other two, but it really seemed more, again, one could be like a purgatory or something. Again, this is where I talk about spirit realms. This is one of the reasons why it's plural, like on my book. Like when you see my book, which is not available on Amazon, ebook and paperback. But if you see, I talk about spirit realms with an S. Because again, I think there is a separation. Now, there's some preachers and things, current Christianity, once you get past the Old Testament and you get into New Testament, and that they say, like with Jesus Christ, there's a new covenant, a new relationship between God and people, and that's through Jesus Christ, right? That's kind of how Christianity works in that sense. So you have the Old Testament where there was a different covenant, a different way to talk to God or get to God and get to heaven. But there's these spirit realms, and it's just interesting. And, regardless of what you believe, even in, like, as we study paranormal, it just seems to be like there's sometimes a little bit of separation in the spirit world still, which is why you don't always just have evil spirits mixed in with, certain things. Sometimes you might get that, but I don't know. It just seems like there might be, or, some separation still. There's a lot to theorize in this. But in regards, you got to remember, this is all stuff from thousands of years ago. This is some of the first books ever written. That's what makes it so amazing. This is not stuff that they were learning from movies or whatever. That what I mean? This was none of that. This was all stuff that they supposedly, either witnessed or was there for, whatever, and just knowledge that they were trying to pass on. It's just interesting. Again, this is one take. You don't have to believe in it. Like I said, I follow the Christian beliefs for the most part. I'm very open-minded, and Jesus is my Savior. I don't deny that. I just like to offer people a chance to see what some of the stuff that I've learned over time, and there's other viewpoints out there. There's other explanations for things, but I just hope you guys enjoyed this tonight. So I know I haven't been able to get to a lot of the comments because I was doing a lot of reading, and I really wanted to get through a lot of this. So Bob, of course, is, great about commenting, and Bob says God used to have anger issues, but he didn't, but he hadn't created anger management programs yet. Well, and I would say too that, in the beginning, right? That sounds like the opening lines. But in the beginning, I think, again, I don't think that God necessarily was, I know it's kind of a running joke, not a joke, but kind of that running thing, that running trope that God was a very angry God. And, you know, but at the same time, you have to remember, even though he had the flood, and he talks about this, he talks about cleansing the earth. Well, the problem was when he did the flood, it didn't completely wipe out everything. And that's why when you get into after the flood and you get into like with Moses and like the Exodus and you get into the book of Joshua, like, or, you know, all of it, Numbers, right? Joshua, Judgments, all that. If you look at that time frame when the Israelites, or when he had Israel going around and the tribe of Israel going around and like murdering these tribes, these Canaanites and stuff like that, going around and trying to cleanse. But you got to remember, this was cleansing. This was, and I know it may sound like, well, this kind of starting to sound like something that Hitler did or something. It's not that. He was trying to cleanse the bad blood, right? He's trying to cleanse the like satanic seeds that were in the bad bloodlines, the giants that were still left over. There was still giants roaming around. They weren't as tall. They were starting to get weeded out. All the tallest ones were gone. But now we had giants that were like 13, 14 foot tall, 12 foot tall, maybe even 10 foot, things like that. So 16, yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. He was trying to still cleanse of the evil bloodlines and still just trying to get to where it's humans, just the regular humans without the bloodlines or without the hybrid stuff, the bad blood. That's where it seemed like where a lot of people felt that the Bible was, there was this whole thing about going around and cleansing. It's like, why would God be having the tribe of Israel go around and just like, just be killing all these people? It's like, well, there's a reason for it, because they weren't really like full-blooded humans, so to speak. That's why Joshua was the giant killer. Anyways, so I don't want to get too much into the Bible, biblical part of it, but we're talking about those ancient times that existed, and there's a lot of like things that have backed up facts of some of these books, and that's why it makes it really interesting, because people can easily dismiss even the Bible, the book of Joshua, the book of Giants, or the book of Joshua. What is it? Joshua, right? The book of Giants. Sometimes all these names, man, I start getting mixed in my head. But the book of Enoch, all these things, they can get to where they can easily dismiss it and say, well, it was like way back when, and, blah, blah, blah. But we've had discoveries along the way that have really pointed out that certain events had transpired. So then when you start saying, well, if those events happened, why are some of these other events, why would they lie about some of these others when they start connecting up, and then they'll find other things? It's just really interesting. The more research you do, it really is pretty cool. It really is. And it definitely brought me closer to God. But it's interesting. Again, and you always want to be open-minded. That is one of the things that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be open-minded and try to find the truth. And that's why I always say, seek the truth. So with that being said, guys, let's see. Bob says, unfortunately, my throne is made of porcelain. And Bob says, are you inferring that the evil ones became politicians? And basically the holy angels are mutant Ninja Turtles. It's, yeah, right, Raphael. And but I didn't see Donatello or Michelangelo in there. We saw Michael, right? And I don't think we see Leonardo. So just Raphael. So so there's at least one, right? The red one. That's all that matters with the size. Now, actually, I like, I don't know. I kind of always liked Michelangelo because of his goofiness sometimes. But I still always liked my boy Leonardo. He was like the leader. He had the swords. I still always liked Leonardo. I thought he was the coolest one. That's just me. So, They're like, you can't pick a favorite, right? I think Leonardo was my favorite. Plus, I loved blue back then. It was like my favorite color when I was a kid, So, hey, I'm going with Leonardo. What's your favorite? Put it in the chat. Or put it in the comments if you're watching this afterwards. But that's about it, guys. I'm going to start wrapping up. I got some shows to watch with the wife, and we got to start getting ready for the trip this weekend. Again, I don't know if it's just going to be me going and filming. My wife, we got a lot of stuff we were still doing with tennis and things like that. So we don't know, but either way, it's going to be great. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. I hope that you guys have a great evening, and that if you have any comments, put them down below, and I hope to see you. Oh, and that reminds you too, real quick, guys. Next week is the Paranormal Council. So hopefully we'll be able to be joined by all the guys, myself and Stacy Talich, Bob Fountain, and Sean Carter. Hopefully we'll all four be able to make it. But next Thursday should be the special episode of Paranormal Council, where we'll be covering maybe some vampire stuff and maybe even some werewolves. We might get into a little bit of vampires and werewolves and those type of stuff. I think it'd be pretty interesting to kind of see where we all fall on those things. Be pretty awesome. So definitely, I see you, you see me. You make sure you show up next Thursday, because you'll get to see hopefully all of us. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Yeah, I hope you learned something. If you have any specific questions or things, again, you guys can always message me or whatever. Email me, Everything Paranormal Show at Gmail. And that's Everything Paranormal Show, not the. Don't put the in front of it on the Gmail. It's just Everything Paranormal Show at gmail.com. So if you want to email me, or if you want us to cover something specific on this upcoming show, email me. I know email might seem a little outdated, but if you email me, trust me, I'm going to find it. I'm going to be like, oh, this person wants this. Or if you have a case that you want us to review. All right, guys, it's been a great show, and look forward to seeing you next week. Remember, seek the truth. We'll see you next week.